Welcome back. Welcome back to the You Should Get a License podcast. My name is Rod Powell, and thank you for tuning in. Our guest today is extremely esteemed, a community leader in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area in Henrico County. Just a little bit of background. He is a graduate of Old Dominion University. He holds an MBA from University of Phoenix and also a Master of Divinity degree from the Proctor School of Theology at Virginia Union. He's been in the financial services industry for over 15 years. He's the co-founder of the Greene Pastures Foundation, co-founder of All In Consulting Firm. Currently, he is the chair of the Henrico County Gifted Advisory Committee, the Henrico County Justice Board. He's an adjunct professor at Virginia Union University. He's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. And most importantly, a family man, husband, and a father as well. I want to welcome the Reverend Pierre L. Greene. Brother Pierre,
thank you.
Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thank you. Man, you made me feel important.
you are important, man. I'm trying to figure out, when you sleep. I don't know, when that happens.
I start early, man. I start my day early. That's the key.
Got to. I mean, look, I know how I don't want to say, I don't like to use the word, difficulty or challenge. I'll say I know how much of an opportunity, it can be to balance, your professional life with your personal life and keep all things, running seamlessly in a streamlined way. So I really just want to commend you, for that before we get started, because since I've known you, and I think when I met you, you were actually in the process of running for a school board position, which you ended up winning. Yes, back then. And man, you just continue, to make moves. And I just want to say, man, you are you're an inspiration to many, and I know that many will find that out, in this conversation today. So start there. Man. Yes.
Thank you.
So, this show, You Should Get a License, is really to educate people about, the industry that we work in. There are many misnomers, misunderstandings, misinterpretations of what the insurance industry, really brings, what it can do for an individual and what it does for, families and communities around the country and even around the world. As we get started, man, there's so many different segments, of the business. Tell me a little bit about what you do. What area of the insurance industry, financial services industry do you specialize in? What's your focus?
Well, my focus has evolved over the years. When I first got into the business, it was all about life insurance, writing life cases, protecting people, providing disability, long-term care, the foundation piece when you talk about financial planning. As I've gotten a little seasoned, I got my security license, and I realized that there's so much opportunity in this industry. But for me right now, I focus with, young professionals, business owners, really people that are at a point in their lives where they're saying, hey, I'm trying to really put my finances in order. I don't want to pigeonhole myself and say, I'm only going to work with the people that make this certain amount of money or they do this type of industry. Because I find that everybody need our services. And especially now with the industry constantly shrinking because people are retiring and getting out of the business, it's so many few of us that are brown and black faces that are in the industry, and we need representation in the industry.
Absolutely. No, it's true. I know that, one of your focuses is really directing individuals to, getting that securities license, and what that can really mean. I want to start, kind of at the beginning with the life insurance aspect initially. So you started with your life license.
Yeah.
What is it that made you, get that license initially and get into the insurance industry?
Okay, I think the year was 2004. No, early 2005, January 2005. I just got back in the country from playing basketball. I was playing overseas in Iceland. My wife and I just got married in August of 2004. So we're coming back in the country, and it's like, all right, you got to get a job. You got to support us. What are you going to do? And I was like, all right. So I'm looking at banks. I'm looking at all these companies. And now when I got called by a broker dealer, they was like, come here, it's 100% commission. And what really hit me was this. They said, what you put in it is no limit on what you can earn. If you work hard, you can make millions. If you work, no one will put a cap on you. And that really just resonated with me. Because as you know, if you're in the corporate structure, in this position, they have a payout at this much. I don't care how great you are. Once you hit that ceiling, all right, next time to go somewhere else. And so the insurance industry was like, wait a minute. I set my own schedule. There's no cap on what I can make. All I have to do is work and meet people. Yeah, that's going to work for me. But let me tell you a story about that.
Sure.
Let me tell you a story. So I get the job. I start with a small company called First Investors. They're now Forrest. And
Forrest. All right.
I get the job. I come home. I tell my wife, I say, baby, I got a job. I'm excited. She's like, okay. I was like, I'm going to be a financial advisor. She's like, all right, what they paying you? I'm like, it's commission. She said, commission? And I said, yeah, and I need $700. I got to pay for my license. She said, I don't want to talk to you right now. You talking about being devastated. I'm like, I'm excited. I'm like, we made it. Let's go. She's like, commission and you got to pay money to get licensed? No, give me some space. So that started off my career. Thank God that it's worked out over the years. But that's always stuck with me. Like, I got to get it, man.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought that up, because even when you said commission, I was going to ask actually, well, how did your wife react to that when you first said, hey, I'm going to be doing something 100% commission? You know, when we're talking about getting people into this space, a lot of times that's a deterrent. Although, you know, for many others, that's a primary motivator. If you're a business owner and entrepreneur, you're working on commission. If you're a doctor, you're running your practice, you're working on commission. If you're a lawyer and you have a firm, you're working on commission. Why is it that you see, why do you think that people are, are intimidated, you know, by that word? Why do you think that's a scary word? A lot of times, especially in our community.
Right. I think it's a false sense of security that we think that salary brings us. We feel like if I have a salary, I have security. And for me, from a recruiting standpoint, if someone's not willing to bet on themselves and go out in commission, that's telling me they probably won't be a good fit for the team, because they may not have the work ethic or the drive to get them to over those tough times and so forth, adversity. So I think in our community, we're looking for some type of security, not realizing that we have to take control of our own security. You know, I want my boys to go to school and get a degree, but I want them to be able to work for themselves. I want them to have a degree to be able to have that knowledge, not to have that knowledge and go work for someone. But for so long, that's how society was taught. I think of my parents. I love them, but they were career postal workers. You know, you get a good job, you get a degree. The post office is an exceptional job. I was raised on it, great benefits, the whole nine. But that just wasn't for me. You know, I wanted more out of life, and I want more out of life. And so I'm putting that in my kids. It's like, you know, it's cool to look at, you know, what other people are doing, but ask yourself, how can you control your destiny? Because this is what you got to realize. A CEO is not going to pay you more than him or her. They're not going to give you a bigger check because you're so awesome. If you're not in control of your energy, your destiny, your work ethic, you're going to always be limited, and you're going to always say, well, only if I could. Well, in this industry, it's on you. It's on you.
Hey, you can prove a lot to yourself in this business.
Yeah.
It will show you what you are made of. You know, there's a saying that some of my mentors used to say, which is, this business will promote you or expose you. One of the two, you know, and the cream always rises was another one. So it's so true, man. So true. Absolutely. So you started with life, you ended up going into, your path was to move into being a financial advisor. And that's really, you know, your focus now, you know, helping with the retirement and security planning. What is it that sparked that? And why do you feel that that's so important, you know, for more people to pay attention to?
You leave money on the table when you don't have your security license. You have people that will give you their investments before they give you life insurance. I know it's backwards. I still don't know the reason why. And so I learned early on, if I'm just a one-trick pony and all I can offer is one product, that guy or that young lady that's going to come in there that has the full array of packages, they can show you how to use your investments to pay for your life insurance. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I can't do that currently where I'm sitting at. So I had to get the skill set. You want to have the tools in your toolbox to be competitive. Yeah. You know, I look at athletes. Perfect example. If you look at a D2 school versus a D1 school, the difference is not the athletes, it's the facility and the resources that they have. And so if we're going to be in this industry, it's great to get started off with life insurance because it will teach you the basics, the bread and butter. But as you grow, you're going to have to be able to evolve and be able to have a full package. So as your clients grow, you want them to grow with you as they have their marriages, first kids, you know, jobs and things of that nature. You want to be right there with them so you're growing with them.
Yeah. Do you find that, you know, on the security side, that you mentioned that on the client side, you know, it's easier for people to grasp, you know, hey, take this retirement and make it multiply. Obviously, because I guess life insurance, you feel like you're spending money. Your retirement investment, you say, hey, I'm making money on that. You know, although, you know, you're still leveraging life insurance as an asset as well, which is important, you know, for people to understand. On the recruiting side, do you feel that it's a more difficult conversation for someone to be interested in the security side, or do you find that, you know, it's an easy transition for someone to go from being, you know, life focused, you know, into a full-fledged, you know, advisor such as yourself?
I think it's easy to go from life on into a full-fledged. And let me tell you, full-fledged advisor. Let me tell you why. Life insurance is probably one of the hardest jobs that we have. People know they need coverage, but they think, well, I have a job. That's one thing the pandemic has highlighted. You know, I got coverage at work. Well, work isn't here anymore, so you have to have it on your own. You know, with the way with companies are doing away with pensions now. You know, our parents had pensions. Yeah. You know, not many companies have pensions still. So you look at it, I tell people, if you have life insurance, it's going to teach you how to get referrals. It's going to teach you how to call people, how to deal with objections and things like that. And now once you transfer into the security side, I think it's just a natural progression. I would challenge, if you look at all the big carriers, look at some of their top producers. Majority of the investment guys have a life insurance background. And I say guys, and I mean no harm by it, but it is what it is. You know, but no, yes. our industry is dominated by so many men. I feel like women will do a better job than us. You know, they just, it's some good women that are great at this role, but it's just, we only recruit men, you know?
Yeah. So sisters, you know, listening, the queens who are out there, get your securities license as well. Interesting stat that I found, actually my assistant found it and posted it on our page. 60% of the insurance workforce. Now this is including all positions, not just, you know, agents and advisors. 60% of the insurance workforce are women, believe it or not. So all you got to do is just, you know, take the experience that you're already applying in whatever field and go ahead and get what do you need to get to have the securities license? Is it the Series 6? Which license do you need?
Well, 6 and 65 are going to probably, or 7 and 66 going to probably be. So you want to be able to go into the managed money. That's where the industry is going. It's going towards where it's managed money, not too many upfront sales charges. I don't want to get too technical on that, but those are the basic ones I would recommend getting. That gives you all the tools in your toolbox to be able to be successful. That's what I would recommend to start with. Awesome. You let me take a step back. You made a good point about women. Women are natural caregivers. Women buy majority of life insurance. Women, I saw a study by Lim a couple of years back that said women, by the year 2030, women will manage 80% of the wealth because men don't live as long. So all that wealth transferred to the woman. So I always tell, you know, advisors, you need to make sure you meet with the couple and have a decent relationship with the wife, because when the husband transitions, she's going to go to someone that she's comfortable with, and it won't be you.
Right.
You know?
Right. Hence, I mean, you're working with my wife and I, so you said that's exactly what you said. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it makes sense. It makes sense. So let's take a pause. I'm gonna come back to that because there's more questions I want to ask you in regards to the securities aspect. But I want to go back prior to insurance. I heard you mention, you know, basketball. and I know you played pro ball, overseas as well. I want to go way back, man. I want to go way back to childhood. So when you were growing up, and maybe I know the answer to this already. I don't know. What did you want to be when you grew up? I know it wasn't a financial advisor. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Man, like any kid growing up I grew up on the south side of Chicago. Played sports. Basketball was my passion. I wanted to go to the league like everybody else. And if I didn't want to go to the league, I guess the next cool thing was like, well, I guess I'll be a lawyer. That's what everybody wanted to be, was either a lawyer or athlete. And but I'm thankful for my experience of playing basketball, because basketball took me all over the world, and it opened my eyes to see different things, different people, different cultures, and you start to value people different. You realize that the world is bigger than your silo.
Yeah.
You think this is all I have is my community. Now it's so much more out here. Every city is mimic each other, but if you don't travel, you don't know it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to play ball, man. And it took me to school for free. Right. It took me to school for free. I played professional overseas. Only 3% of the people in the world can ever call themselves professional. And so whether you play one day or 30 years, I did it. And I had a great time, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's a correlation between the insurance. I would say really any entrepreneurial path, right? Yeah. Any path where you have to be self-motivated and focused and disciplined. And I see that intersect a lot with the insurance industry. So in your words, I mean, how do you see the connection between having been a professional athlete? I mean, even if it was a collegiate athlete, right? Even if it just stopped there, or even high school, right? Just that environment. How do you see the connection between that and a career in insurance? Or do you see a connection between the two?
Absolutely see a career. Like right now, this is the off season. It's summertime. In our industry, everybody started going on vacation. In June and July, my kids are graduation. July, I'm on vacation. August, we're trying to get the kids ready for college. Get with me after Labor Day. That becomes the language that you hear a lot from your client. So this is like our off season. And in the off season, you got to put the work in. You got to start looking at like, okay, what market do I want to be in next year? Or let me look at my book of clients right now. Who can I call and try and get referrals? How can I get better on my skills? Playing sports, you have to work. It's not just game time. You have to put the practice in. And many times as professionals, we forget to practice. I still go over my openings. I still work on my closings because even though it's habitual and it's second nature to me, you still want to make sure you get better. I learned this saying in high school: proper preparation and practice prevents poor performance. Let me get it to you one more time.
Yeah.
Proper preparation and practice prevents poor performance. And so it's the same way in our world. As an athlete, you've taught, things not going to always go your way. You're going to miss a shot. You're going to turn the ball over. How do you respond? And so I tell this to new agents, when you don't get the close, it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go, or they get declined, how do you respond?
Yeah.
That's when you got to come back. Getting the win is easy. Getting the client is the easy part. It's servicing the clients and building the relationships with the clients, which is what will last a long time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you don't get that close, if you're not getting the sell, hey, you're thickening your skin.
Right.
You're getting tougher for the next go round. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. We can add an extra P in there. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Right. I thought this was a family show. I didn't want to say piss poor on the show, man.
Sometimes you got to emphasize it, So no, but absolutely, man. So okay, I gotta ask, and you're a basketball player too, so I have to ask the question. This is a serious one here. Okay. Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan all day. Don't even talk to me. Okay, it's not even. It's Jordan all day. I was blessed. I had the pleasure of playing with Jordan through college and working out with him. So I got a chance to see him up close and see his mentality, his work ethic. It's nothing like it.
So that did it for you. That firsthand experience. It was like,
growing up in Chicago,
in Chicago, right?
On Friday nights when our local station was WGN, when the Bulls came on, I knew all the moves. I knew everything the man was going to do, and then to get the opportunity to play with him and see how he prepared, not just physically, it was mentally for me. He was so much better mentally than everybody. It wasn't even close. And we do a disservice that we don't give Kobe his respect. I'm going Jordan, Kobe, LeBron.
True.
Talk about the mentality.
True.
If I'm competing with somebody or if I'm in war, I want to make sure that they're gonna cut your neck off if they have to. They're not Kobe gonna shoot if 4 people on him. It is what it, and I can live with that. The basketball play will say make the right pass to the open person, but he knows I'm the man. If we're gonna lose, it's gonna be with me. In the same way, that's how Jordan was.
That's he said Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. I see that. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
No disrespect to LeBron.
Yes.
I think LeBron
absolutely.
is amazing.
Absolutely.
What he's doing is hands down at this age and still competing at this high level.
Right.
But for me, to see what Jordan did and to see Kobe's mentality, his razor focus. People, I wasn't a big fan when he was playing. I was like, man, this guy's anal. Then I had a couple of buddies that played with him. They was like, man, he's just super focused. And it was like, wait a minute. If this is my craft, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
This was his craft. And so it's the same way with us, with our business. We have to be super focused, laser focused, and really, you want to dominate. And this is the thing you got to realize. We're not competing with you or the persons out at different companies. I'm competing with myself.
Absolutely.
It's so many clients out here for us, and what technology has done, we can see everybody all over the world.
Yes.
So you have to compete with yourself. And I think if we create that atmosphere where we're competing with ourselves and helping each other, we can get more reps, more agents of color, and we can all be successful.
That's right. That's right, man. That's right. So going back, I'm sorry for the quick detour.
You good, man. You good.
I gotta ask basketball players like that particular question. That's all.
Yeah, you good.
Going back, to your career. So right before you got a license, what were you doing? You had finished playing ball. You had just got married. Were you working in another field? Did you transition directly from ball to insurance? What were you doing prior?
Yeah. So I graduated back in 2002. So we were still living in Norfolk. So I was in the banking industry. I was doing, I was on my way to corporate ladder. I was going to be a bank manager, in the management program. Then I got an opportunity to go play ball. So we got on the plane, played ball, came back. And when I came back, I was working like little odd jobs, just doing something, really just saying, I'm going to try and find something. Let me go back to banking because that's what I knew.
Yes.
So you know how all the carriers call you. When you put a resume out there, they call you and say, oh, we think you'd be great in sales. They don't know. They just, back in the day, I think they still do it now. They just, if they can get a room of 30 people, they know we can hire at least 10. And out of that 10, maybe 2 will stick.
Right.
And so when I went, and so that's why I transitioned from ball directly into this. So I'm still competitive. I'm still working out, still got that same type of focus. And I'm like, yo, I got to make money. That was my focus. Like, how do I make money?
Yeah.
And how can I be, my mindset was this: no one's going to outwork me. You can have more talent. You can have all the resources, but you're not going to outwork me. Absolutely. So I'm a bet on myself.
Absolutely.
And that's what I did.
Hey, man, absolutely. So almost 16 years later, working in this business, did you ever get to a place where you felt like, I don't know, maybe I should have did something different? I mean, did you have, this is a 2-part question, really. Did you ever get to that place, and how did you get yourself out of that place?
Yes, everybody gets to that place. You start thinking like, can I do something better? But I realized this is a calling. This is like another form of ministry for me. I had the pleasure, some wouldn't probably call it a pleasure, but I've delivered 8 death claims. And to go into those families' living rooms and provide a check and say, I can't replace your loved one, but I can at least provide some financial comfort and help you get through this, and see the kids, go to college and, do things in life. For me, that was like, that's why I do it,
Yeah.
And so that's my thing. I think the thing about this industry is that we're not just limited. You can do so many other things. As you see, you can branch out and do other things. But for me, this was something I will always keep my license. I'll be 90, still got my license, because this is a ministry for me. This is a passion. I know how this impacts. I know how this can change your life. God forbid to lose a spouse or father or mom, and then not have the financial resources to help. That's distraction. That's a disaster waiting to happen. At least if I could come in and provide that peace of mind and say, hey, financially, we're going to be okay.
Yes.
We can get through this with family, friends, and prayer. We can move on. To me, that's what it's about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So is that what keeps you, motivated even now? You've mentioned, that it is a part of your ministry and you feel like it's a purpose. Is that what keeps you motivated internally? And also, is there anything externally that you do? Is there any exercise? I know we had talked a little bit about, some affirmation things. Is there anything else, any other thing that you do to stay motivated on a
Absolutely.
day-to-day basis?
Yeah. What keeps me motivated is the legacy. I have three boys. My oldest just turned 14 on Friday.
Nice.
My
Happy
second
belated,
son
yes.
will be, yeah, he'll be 8 in September, and my baby will be 2 in October. So the goal is, I've seen so many guys that don't look like me, where their kids come into the business and they hand them this big book of business, and they hit the ground running. I'm like, how? So this
Yeah.
is an opportunity for me to pass a legacy on to my kids. And then also, I'm big on visualizing. So I'm a manifest, visualize what I want to see in my practice, what I want to see in my business. And so that motivates me. I try and start my day with a little quiet time. I don't do it every day, but I try my best when possible to just get that quiet time to play out my day. Now that doesn't mean it's going to happen the way I want, but at least I'm putting the energy out there. And I believe once you put the energy out there, you get what you give out.
Yeah.
The law of attraction. You know
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you started with an incredible foundation. Obviously, you have, great character. Do you feel like, having your license, working in the field, working in the industry, has changed you or grown you as a person? If so, I mean, in what way?
Yeah, it stretched me to understand what you see is may not always be the story. Give you a perfect example. You can pull up to a light and you can see somebody with a big car and like, oh my God, that's a nice car,
Yes.
but you don't know the stuff behind it.
Yes.
The
Yes.
turmoil or the agony
Yes.
that they went through to get to where they at. And so you learn to be more empathy with people.
Yes. Right.
Um, Another thing it's taught me that as a professional, I'm always on.
Yes.
I'm if I go out to the grocery store, I'm on. And you never, as a professional, you never want to have to hide because you've done something unethical. So I'm very mindful of that. You're not going to see Mr. Greene. Oh, I saw him. He hiding from me. No. Hey, how you doing? Because I know I'm doing things the right way. And so
Yes.
that's grown me to be able to say, you know what, you can't hide. But that's also made me at times early on in my career, in my 30s in particular, living with a mask. Putting the front on, thinking that I always have to be on, I always have to be right, and not realize like, hey, that's not real. That's not
Hmm.
healthy for you emotionally, spiritually. And so I'm at a place now where it's like I am who I am. I'm comfortable in my skin. I was able to grow my hair out. If you'd have told me how
Yes.
to grow my hair, I'd say, man, you crazy. I'm clean cut, white shirt. This is how you do it. But I've evolved, and this process of this industry that we love, it's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, the maturation of every individual, you should grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
In life, you should grow.
I'm so, man, it's really refreshing to hear you say that because, I know I've experienced that in my career, and I know of a few others that have experienced that too. And I recently read this report. It's a couple years old, um, but it talked about the term acculturation. And that was a term I wasn't really familiar with before, but it really dealt with trying to fit in, to
Yeah.
certain environments, right? And the report was on, the journey of African American insurance professionals, and really talking about how, as an African American, coming into the insurance industry, we're already, man, it's so, we're I mean, I think to call us just a minority would be an understatement vastly, right? But
Yeah.
it basically spoke to trying to make sure that you were able to acclimate, toward to different environments, right? Because we're around all different kinds of people, and we're definitely not the majority in this business, but also attempting to remain true to yourself at the same time, right?
Right. Right.
So I mean, hearing you say that is like, yes, more confirmation. And the reality is, look, you wearing, you having, your locks, your strong locks, right? That doesn't take away from your intelligence, from your ability to communicate, from your knowledge of your products and your services. It does not minimize you, make you, any less, right? If you have a professional that is going in, and if it's a person who is, wearing a hijab, or they're wearing a dashiki, or females wearing a lap, or whatever it is, that doesn't take away from, hey, this person may still be a top-notch professional than this, other person who looks, more conventional to what you might find, So, man, I said it earlier, commend you, but I commend you on that as well, because it's very important for, younger people coming up to see that they can still be true to themselves. I mean, obviously maintaining a professional standard, right?
Right. let me I don't want to say the company, but I worked for a company early on, and I was taught where you had to have $1,000 suit, you had to drive a certain type of car, you had to do these type of things. And I'm just like, early on I was trying to fit in, like, this is how I do it. And the whole while, love my wife, she was like, I'm not about it. I'm not doing it. I'm like, baby, but she's like, no, that's on you. I'm not doing none of that. That does nothing for me. And so she already was where I am now years ago. And so I think what I always tell new advisors, be yourself, just be professional.
Right.
Like you said, just be professional. And it doesn't take away, but that's something that we had to fit in to make them feel comfortable, to make others feel comfortable in a sense.
Right.
You know what it's like. I'll go to some of these conferences, it's 5,000 people. And if we got 25 African Americans or Hispanic, you know, that's a big deal. And so, I think our industry has to do a better job of being aware of the biases.
Absolutely.
Coming in and telling the person, well, you need to have this amount of fees up front and just put on your credit card. Well, that's the bias. What if that person don't have a credit card?
Right.
That's the assumption. And if they do have one, what makes you think they can put $1,000 on fees, and so forth? They don't have that. And so it's us, we have to be aware. And you look at the landscape, it's no managing partners. It's not many, it's not many directors, we're not there. We're not getting, it's not because we're not able to, we're just not getting opportunities. And I always tell people, in this industry, they can be as creative as they want with compensating people. And for us, we always have to go the extra mile. I got to have an MBA and my security license. Well, this guy just has a security license. He doesn't have a college degree, but he's, and I always tell this too, don't be a victim though. It is what it is. Yeah,
that's right.
It is. It is double standards. And I'm not going to say and act like there isn't. There is.
Right.
You just work. You just do your part.
That's it. You just grind. Yeah. You just go.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to take some time to speak about, your other projects as well, because, you made a point. Hey, you get into this industry, and I've seen this where, people get into this business and you branch off and you start to do other things, and you've leveraged, your experiences, your relationships into other opportunities and other ways that you can really, impact, your community and people around you. I know both you and your wife are both Christian ministers, and Greener Pastures Foundation, This is both of your organizations.
Yes.
Right. Tell me. Okay.
Tell you about it. Right. She's
Tell me
the
about the
president.
Greene Foundation.
So
Yes.
my wife is Reverend Tiffany Harris Greene. She has an MDiv. We met at ODU. It was perfect. We met my senior year, her junior year, so it was perfect for me. I was getting ready to graduate, so it was perfect time to meet someone. And so the nonprofit
Right,
came about. Right, in the college. The nonprofit came about when we were just looking around, looking at all the disparities in education. So we really want to advocate for those parents with kids that have learning disabilities, whether it's ADHD, dyslexia, dysgraphia, or intellectual disabilities. What we found is that a lot of people of color, a lot of parents of color in particular, didn't understand their rights. They didn't know what the services that was there for them. And if you've ever been to an IEP or 504 meeting, it can be very intimidating. In particular, in the county that we live in Henrico, Virginia. 50,000 students is one of the biggest ones in Central Virginia. So you can walk into a room where it's like 6 people, 7 people, Dr. So-and-so, and they're telling you about your child. And if I only have a high school diploma, I'm doing the best I can, education really not my thing, I'm productive, that can be intimidating. And we have a tendency as parents to take their words as the law. And what we saw was they were mistreating, they were suspending kids, in particular African-American boys, because saying they had behavior problems. Well, once you did more research, it wasn't that they had behavior problems. These kids were bright and they weren't getting challenged. They were not getting challenged. So the system, it's easier to label them as a problem instead of educating them the way the laws say you should. So what we do as a nonprofit, we go in, we teach parents how to advocate for themselves. We even work with the school systems to say, hey, how can we teach your staff to be more, have more empathy and to see things from a different point of view, you know? And so that's been amazing. We've started that since 2018. Wow, 2018, nice. And it's growing. That's our baby, you know?
Yes.
So yeah, that's where Green and Pasture came from.
No, that's awesome. And, you know, you mentioned, you know, working with the schools, but also definitely working with those parents, which is so important, because if they are knowledgeable about, you know, the resources and access that they have, or the leverage that they have, then they can, you know, take advantage of those things as well. So what age ranges does Green and Pastures focus on?
Kindergarten to 12th grade.
12th grade. So then those 12th graders, you know, they can come
K
out
through 12.
K through 12. They come out of high school, right? They can go to college, or they can go and get their insurance license, because they are bright, right?
Yeah.
And they have a path, you know, that's going to be able to take them wherever, you know, wherever they desire. No,
absolutely.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And you know, All In Consulting Firm. Now this is your investment retirement firm.
No.
All
In Consulting Firm.
Tell me about All In Consulting Firm too.
All right. All In Consulting. That's something that me and my wife we did. This is helping companies understand how to communicate. What we saw is that a lot of companies don't know how to communicate, not from a marketing standpoint, but communicate what they're trying to get across in memos, documents, emails. So we're able to go in. And with this also, we do a business analysis. So we'll do a SWOT analysis to look at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats of the business to see, hey, how can you run a lean operation, or maybe you're spending too much money. What we find is that a lot of companies, a lot of professionals are great at what they do, but they're not good at business. You know, if you look at doctors, for example, he or she is exceptional at diagnosing you and doing things like that. But when we talk about payroll, managing employees, ordering supplies, they could care less about it, you know? Right. And so that's what we're able to come in and say, hey, we can be that consultant for you, and we'll take care of the business part of your business. You do great at what you're doing. We'll run your books and things like that. And that's been a blessing, man. You know, and I got into that based on the business. As I'm working with clients that are doing well for themselves, and they're like, you know, they ask me these questions and I'm giving them answers. And it's like, wait a minute. Okay, maybe it's a market there where we can come in and fit this niche and be able to help you all, so you can maximize your profit and work on. And that's one thing the industry has taught us is this: focus on the things you're good at. You know, if you're not good at doing openings, let's focus on doing the closing. Let's put other people in those places that can really help you building the team out. And so that's what we do as All In Consulting Firm.
Yeah. So you can help them with that process, of working on the business, while they're working
Right.
in the business and continuing to build it.
Well said.
Awesome. No, see that is so important, because, well, exactly because of what you just said. People do have skills, they have many things that they can bring to the table, but as far as, organizing and making sure that the administrative aspects are in place, I know that, well, I'll talk about my stuff offline. I won't talk about, but no, but everyone can benefit. Everyone can benefit from those things. I'll say this, in my own entrepreneurial path, over time, I've definitely had some hard lessons, that have taught me the importance of making sure that those back office tasks were absolutely in place. Absolutely in place. So as we start to kind of wind down a little bit, you got so many things that you've done and have utilized. Man, I mean, I won't even say it started with your insurance career. I'll say, kind of started before that, probably, some of the lessons that you learned throughout college and playing ball. You leverage those experience into your insurance career. You leverage that into, your companies, that you're establishing now. What's next for Reverend Pierre Greene? What's next?
Well, what's next is really continue to build a legacy, and really trying to making sure I'm living out my purpose, want to do things that I enjoy, I'm learning how not to stress, stress less. And I think a lot of that comes down to really taking things in perspective. The pandemic was amazing. I know we lost a lot of lives and people lost a lot of houses, homes and so forth. But for my household, it was amazing because it gave us time to reflect, to say, wait a minute, why are we doing this? What are we really trying to get accomplished out of this? What's the purpose? And I think going forward, as things start to open back up, that's one of the questions we ask. Well, what's the purpose of this? Okay. Should we be doing this? And if it doesn't line up with our values and where we are at and where we're trying to go, hey, we're gonna pass on it. It's nothing wrong with that. And I think we got caught up in the cycle. Just go. And this has been amazing, man. You get a chance to talk to your kids and learn things about them that you didn't know. Like, oh wow, okay, I didn't know you thought like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
That's right. Even observe them in a different way, right? Because it's you're used to sending them off. You send them off. You kind of get in the habit of that, so you really don't even see how they're engaging throughout the course of the day.
Right.
But being able to observe them the entire day in this virtual environment. It definitely has been gratifying for our family. It sounds like it's been the same, for yours as well. Yeah, man. 2020, that was a big year. I know that everyone is trying to really move out of it and get back into the flow of normalcy. But it certainly was a time to kind of reflect, and many of the innovations that are happening now have been birthed out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Zoom is definitely taking off.
Well, I look at the industry. It was certain things that they would not allow us to do because they wanted us to be in person.
Yes.
And you couldn't do electronic signatures. All that's out the window. Everything is like do Zoom, do DocuSign. It's perfect. So now I'm able to be in Maryland, North Carolina, and Virginia all in the same day.
That's right.
It's no way we could have ever done that without the pandemic. So, you're absolutely right. We had to pivot. Everybody had to make a pivot in 2020. One of the things that I took away from 2020, I just want to get this to you, is that I realized I was waiting for something or for somebody to do something, this opportunity, that opportunity. And what I said was, we waste so much time waiting instead of just taking the opportunity. Let me make it plain for you. You got these referrals and, your client said, let me call them first and then I'll I'll let you know. Well, 2 weeks have come and they haven't called you. You're waiting for them. Instead of just picking up the phone and say, hey, Mr. Smith gave this to me. Can we get together? That's a missed opportunity. So I realized, I lost my father April 12th, 2020. And it was just like, man, it was so many missed opportunities that I missed out on in 2020 that I can't go get back. And so I said, you know what, in 2021, how can I just go get, I'm going to be in the position where I'm going to go get what I need instead of just waiting,
There you go, man. No, awesome. No, I spot on. Taking action, man. So somebody new, they're getting in this business. Maybe they're thinking, I don't know, maybe it's an opportunity that is 100% commission, maybe they've never even thought about a career in insurance. I hadn't thought about insurance prior to learning about it. I don't know if it's something that you had thought about when you were playing ball in Iceland. Probably not, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
So what advice would you give to them?
I would tell them, if you're going to jump into this career, make sure you have a support system. Early on, I should do something. Before my calls, I would call my wife and say, hey, babe, about to make these calls. And the reason for doing that was it was a warm, familiar voice, an encouraging voice. So you need to have a support system, first of all. And understand that in this business, it's a business, you're building something. Don't treat it like a job. Right now, it's hot outside, and it's easy to say, you know what, I'm not going to go to work today. Or I'm gonna go in, but I'm gonna leave at 2:00 and I'm gonna enjoy the day. Well, you can get those benefits, but you got to put the work in early. A senior advisor told me this early on. He said, when you first start the business, you'll be underpaid, but the longer you do it, you'll be overpaid. I was like, what? He was like, people will call you, and you'll be surprised. And I'm at that point in my career where it's like, man, people are calling me. Like, oh, that's pretty cool, And so in the beginning, you feel like it's always an uphill battle. I would tell you, keep your expenses low too. If you can only afford a Honda, just get you a Honda. You don't need to, keep your expenses low. You don't have to go out here and buy $1,000 suits. Go to the dry cleaner. If you don't have a lot of suits, get a black, a blue, and get white and blue shirts. And a lot of ties, they're very affordable, right. And rotate them. Okay. And you want to keep your wardrobe looking right, but don't go out here overextending yourself. Keep it small.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, thank you for the wise words. Thank you for the time as well. Please share, any contact information, for people that can reach out to you, get in contact with you, any social media, for people to stay in communication with you.
Yeah. I'm old school, so you can find me on Facebook at my name, Pierre Greene. You can also find me on Instagram at Pierre Greene 12, and that's Greene with an E, PIEEREGREENE 12 at G. On Instagram, and my email is my name, pierre.greene12 at gmail.com. That's pierre.greene12 at gmail.com. One thing I realized, I know we're about to wrap up, Rod, but we probably got to do a part 2, man.
Yeah, man.
We gotta do a part 2.
Yeah, this is an ongoing conversation. We didn't get into like the next phases of where Naya's going and all this stuff. So yeah, we'll definitely have to continue on. But I appreciate you, this evening. And ladies and gentlemen, you see at the bottom of the screen Pierre's contact information. The Reverend Pierre Greene. Thank you very much for being here today, and thank you all for listening. And maybe you heard something that made you think you should get a license. Until next time, talk soon.